Thank you, Mr. Logan, for speaking with me. Go ahead and state your name and tell me your ride. What am I looking at that I love following and watching?
It's a 1991 Acura NSX, but everybody thinks it's a 2002 because it's got the 2002 conversion.
Oh, so you did update it a little bit. Now, first question, your vanity plate, man. Tell me about the vanity plate because I freaking love it every time I see it.
So, when they built these cars, they competed against Ferrari, right? And obviously it beat Ferrari, right?
Yep.
And so, as just kind of something that I like messing around and stuff, and so I named it Hood Rari.
Hood Rari.
Right?
And that's so cool that you got that plate. And for NSX owners or Honda fanboys, they understand kind of this is the ghetto Hood Rari that made the Honda become the all-encompassing and favorite for many of us JDM car enthusiasts. Now, tell us about how you acquired the vehicle. Was it before the market got all crazy on it, or was this a dream car? How did you stumble upon this guy?
So literally right before the market, skyrocketed, right? I had a buddy that was selling the NSX, also the RX-7, and I found out about it, and I said, hey, I'll buy the NSX and the RX-7 at the same time, right? And he's like, okay, cool, So I said, I'm gonna go to the bank, and I'm gonna go get some cash. And as I got to the bank, or actually I was sitting down talking to the banker, trying to get withdraw some money. He calls me, he texts me, he's like, hey man, the FD is sold. Some guy just came over and threw a bunch of cash on my table. And I was like, oh man. I go, make sure you hold the NSX because I'm already
right here, right?
Yeah. So and that's how I got it. I picked it up the same day with my son.
That's so cool. And you know what? I remember a time when NSXs, you can pick them up 25, 30 G's. And now it's just people are starting to finally realize, thankfully, it's not about the horsepower, it's about the driving experience. And I mean, that car, I know you've done some modifications, we'll talk about that, but just in its pure stock form, especially as a 91, no power steering, right? Just it's just the most amazing thing to drive, I bet.
Yeah, no power steering, but it's just so nice to drive. I drive that around, and I get thumbs up, and people taking pictures of it as I drive it. I can park that next to a Ferrari, and nobody even pay attention to the Ferrari.
Right.
They'll take a picture of that.
Absolutely. Now, you got a nice engine bay. Just you don't have to name them all, but what are some of the mods you've done to it?
So that motor's been fully rebuilt. It's a built motor. I fully built it because it was
3.0, right? Not the 3.2?
Yeah. And so that was built because it was supposed to be boosted. It's actually ready for boost now.
Low compression pistons, all that good stuff.
So I'm just waiting for the turbo kit. But my buddy that owns the shop, he of course he's still got to run the shop at the same time, trying to build the kit for it. So I'm just waiting. Any day now, it can go to the shop for the twin turbo kit.
Oh, it's gonna change. Oh, it's gonna sound so good. I can't wait to see that. Now, I know on your channel, and you definitely better plug in your channel at the end. You do a lot of the drone flying, but you've also done some customization, like electrical work, or tell us some of the stuff you pull apart the taillights or the headlights, or what are some of the extra things you personally do?
Pretty much everything. I'm an aircraft mechanic by trade, so mechanical stuff is nothing new to me. I love tinkering with everything. With my car, I just try to make it as unique as possible. Like for example, the wheels. Everybody thinks those are work wheels.
Yeah, they look like Workmeisters.
Those are
right?
not work wheels. Those are stock wheels converted to 3-piece.
That's so cool.
The tail lights. Those are custom tail lights built by me. And the reason I built that was because, like I said, I always want to be unique. And so those are 2 of 2 in the world that I built. I built one set for a buddy of mine that has a red NSX.
Yeah, we've seen him driving around. Yeah. He has that cool little roof scoop on there.
Yeah, exactly.
But you dig in down and dirty, you measure everything out, you add the LEDs. I mean, because of your trade and because of your knowledge and workmanship, what should people who are into any kind of vehicle customization, building off like unique one of one kind of stuff, what should they know, or what's some knowledge and wisdom you can pass to them?
You know what? I know a lot of guys that have never worked on anything. Of course, right now you can learn anything through YouTube.
YouTube University, right?
So you just, even those taillights, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to put those taillights back together. I went through 3 or 4 sets before I can build
No
that
kidding.
set. And those taillights are very expensive. They're like $1,000 a set. And I went through 3 or 4 of them before I got it to that point. Actually, that's the 3rd revision on those taillights.
But are you happy with your work?
So far, yes.
And you know what? I think that's a testament to, you know what? You are going to fail. You are going to mess up. But it's about having the right idea and just pursuing it and doing it, right? In the future, for those NSX owners, what are some things to look out for? What are some of the first mods they should do, whether it's the very, very first gen or the updated or the 3.2?
You know what? Honestly, NSX, it's good as it is. If I bought another one, I'd probably keep it stock. But definitely wheels, suspensions, because you gotta lower it a little bit. Really, there's really not much. If you just want to be able to drive it around and have fun with it, wheels and just lowering it. It already does so much for it. And honestly, even if you wanted to keep it stock, it's still awesome,
Yeah. Do you get paranoid with that like aluminum body and like people? You just worried about that one grandma that's just gonna press the accelerator, then the brake, or like, have you had like some like? Are you afraid to drive it? Is what I'm saying, because a lot of these guys with these, like beautiful built cars, they get afraid to drive it. I tell you, I'm afraid to drive my SC1000 sometimes, But how have you kind of overcome that?
You know what? I've spent so much money on that car, and honestly, if you spend that much money, you might as well have fun with it. So just drive it around and just have fun with it. And if your question with, am I worried about anyone dinging my car? I got extra fenders and hoods at home.
And you know what? Smart, because it's getting harder and harder to find stuff like that. Last question, and again, thank you, Mr. Logan, for speaking with me. California wants to transition to electrification in the next 15 to 20 years. What are your thoughts of electric cars and the future of the car culture? Look at this meat, amazing meat. How are we going to continue to sustain this?
I love the idea of electric cars, but for me, I still love, hearing the sound of the motor. Honestly, I don't really understand it, because everywhere I go, exactly my point right there, right? But you drive around, there's still gas stations getting built everywhere. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Just on Jefferson, there's a 7-Eleven, there's a Shell.
Just on McCall.
Oh, yeah. That's right. The Arco and another Shell right there.
You can't beat the you can't beat the sound and just the feel of driving a naturally aspirated car.
Are they making electric airplanes anytime soon?
They've got drones,
electric passenger airplane. Can you imagine that?
Well, I don't know. It would have to, because the battery technology has to get a little bit better. I don't see the power to weight ratio. I think that would still be an issue, because for them to be able to, get the same amount of flight time and
versus a jet engine,
they would have to pack that airplane with a whole bunch of batteries.
God, that's future. I don't know how your kiddos. I hope they can keep this going, man. And then tell your son he needs to start learning this and getting into this, so he gets to inherit that one day.
He's already picked out his car. Obviously, unfortunately, that's not the car he wants to drive. He wants to drive my 240 as well.
He loves the 240. I gotta get my 240 running. Yeah. Speaking of, go ahead and plug your social media or any YouTube videos, or what should they be looking out for? You have such great, especially your drone stuff is so cool.
Yeah. So my IG page is Bits FPV, BITS FPV. It started off it wasn't a car page. It was a drone page.
Yeah.
Right.
And you go fly your planes out there, right there by the cross, right by the little hill, right?
I do. So I fly RC helicopters, RC planes, drones, and I've been doing this for going on 12 years. So, when nobody knew what drones were, I was already flying it and configuring them. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Logan. I'm going to do a walk around. But I'm finally pleasure to speak with you, man, and not talk about your kiddo.
Yeah. I'll pop the hood for the trunk for you, and so you can take.
Appreciate it. Yeah, for sure.